it looks like just under 1,500 people, or just over, I should say, 1,508. In the grand scheme of things, not a lot of people when you look at the total customer base for MLGW. 99.65% of customers have power restored. One of the things that MLGW is advocating for, that if you still don't have power, and a large cluster of that 1,500, 920 you can see, right there on the 240 corridor, parts of Orange Mound, Parkway Village, you can see parts of Hickory Hill as well. President and CEO of MLGW, Doug McGowan, said in a press conference last night that you might want to check around your house to make sure your system is intact. You might have some damage. And if you do have damage, you might want to get a licensed electrician to come to your house, fix that damage, and then MLGW can restore your power. The other thing is that this is the nitty-gritty part of power restoration. I used this sort of reference on Wednesday's show, talking about kind of when you're packing a house, you get all of the big stuff out, all of the boxes that you've pre-boxed, you get that into the moving van. And then you've got just a bunch of little things that need to be meticulously placed in different boxes, and it feels like that takes up the majority of the time. And so backs of yards, backs of alleys, those are the hard to reach places, the meticulous places that crews are having to get into to restore power for these final few 1,500 customers. Final few 1,500, there's your alliteration for the day. And so they're aiming to get things done as quickly as possible. MLGW even told us that they're still in crisis mode, all hands on deck. A spokesperson with MLGW said as they work to restore power for folks in this area. And you can see like North Memphis, Fraser has 261 without power, a big cluster there. But you know, this has obviously not been good for folks who have a fridge or a freezer that has had frozen foods. So there's some good news out there for you. Tennessee SNAP recipients who lost food, you could be eligible for reimbursement. So listen up. This is through the Tennessee Department of Human Services. They say recipients can qualify for replacement benefits if they lost food due to the power outage of 12 hours or more. So if you've lost power for more than 12 hours, which is going to be many of you right now, you're going on 12 days at this point. Gosh, 12 hours. Give me a break. So to request the benefit, you've got to submit a signed affidavit to, again, the State Department of Human Services within 10 calendar days of food loss. So we're still in that window, folks. Once approved, replacement funds will be loaded onto your EBT card. So what is this affidavit? It's through the state. We've got a link to that affidavit with this story on our website, actionnews5.com. Search. It is linked into the story. Takes you to the Tennessee Department of Human Services site where you can fill that out, get it approved, get it submitted in time, and hopefully replenish some of the losses from Saturday's storms. And that's not just SNAP. It's not just SNAP benefits. We've also got the Mid-South Food Bank. They're stepping up. If you need food, there are several emergency food distribution sites that are happening today, Friday, August 28th, 6:30 this morning until 10. So they've been open now for about 3-ish hours. St. Mary's Soup Kitchen, that's 155 Market Street, for about an hour now. I believe the 901 Block Squad, they've been giving away food at 1720 RKS Commercial Cove. All of these sites distributing food to folks who need it, impacted by the storm today. Take a look, take a picture, take a screenshot if you're watching on your phone or your computer. Do your due diligence. Find a way to get there if you need it. Call a friend if you need to get a ride there. This is just a great way for Mid-South Food Bank to step up, partnership with Feeding America, and hopefully we can get through this together. And I'll give credit where credit is due. Ari Monty Williams did a great piece 2 days ago about someone who'd been without power, was in need of some assistance, and sure enough, folks who had things to give did in fact give to this one resident who Imani interviewed. I mean, a true testament to the slogan we go by here, taking action for you. And those are the kind of updates we like to give. An update we don't like to give, though, is a story that really consumed most of our day yesterday, time-wise. Started in the morning, ended in the afternoon. This is a story about a man who had kidnapped his children, killed the children's mother, and then that man died hours later. So this is the Trinity Lakes apartment complex in Cordova, where this all started. Police found a woman who'd been shot and was pronounced dead at the scene. Investigators later discovered her 2 children were missing and that their father, Larry Berry, took them. The children, fortunately, were found safe in Robinsonville, Mississippi. And it was even before an Amber Alert could be sent. So Berry was found about an hour south in Marks, shot in the head, and he died on the way to the hospital. And one of the perplexing things about this was this same apartment complex saw another person die, not even 24 hours prior. And so we were thinking to ourselves, pretty sure we heard Trinity Lakes Apartments. Didn't we just have something there? Is it the same thing? Nope, 2 separate instances, and we're going to go into detail on the first one that happened Wednesday afternoon. Josiah Elzie stabbed his neighbor, Frank Young, same apartment complex, Trinity Lakes Apartments. He stabbed him several times. First responders pronounced Young dead at the scene. A witness told investigators that she tried to stop Elzie but was overpowered. Elzie is in court this morning on first-degree murder charges. Very unfortunate thing to report. We've got a couple more court sentencings, court appearances. Big day for court, starting with this man right here, out on bond after allegedly threatening to blow up Holly Springs Utility Department. This man, William Pruitt, called the utility on Sunday. There are still folks in Holly Springs without power right now. He was one of them on Sunday. He threatened to, again, bomb Holly Springs Utility Department. He was arrested and charged with false reporting of a bombing. In other news, we've got a sentencing of a man in a sexual assault case, and a big one at that, 60 years in prison for a Memphis man after he kidnapped and sexually assaulted someone. Antonio Mabin, he was arrested in May of last year. Now, a woman found Mabin sexually assaulting her daughter. Mabin then held both of them at gunpoint until police arrived. Now, perspective on his sentencing, Mabin is 45 years old. He will not be eligible for release until he's 92. And if you ask me, he shouldn't be eligible for any kind of release. He should die where he is admitted. No business with that. Good for DeSoto County sentencing him. And another sentencing case, this is continuing coverage now in the case of Lindsay Whiteside, the DeSoto County youth pastor and basketball coach. She's expected to change her plea on count 1 of her federal indictment. Now, what is count 1? Well, that's the indictment for transporting a minor across state lines from DeSoto County to Shelby County to engage in sexual activity. That hearing on that count, in which she expects to change her plea, that's expected for next month. Her trial is still scheduled to begin in October. And what a whirlwind of a case that has been. We've got another court appearance from yesterday, kind of a full wrap of what we saw. 4 deputies were on trial for what they did while arresting a murder suspect. They have been acquitted. These men, Brian Lane, Dakota Wilkerson, Samuel Chastain, and Matthew Lawler, were all charged with misconduct, oppression, and assault from October 2024 when they arrested Jackson Hopper in Dyer County. Many of you probably saw this video on social media. This was the same day that Hopper shot and killed Ellie Young, his girlfriend, at Shelby Farms Park. Hopper eventually pleaded guilty to murder in April. This was video that was shot of the apprehension with those 4 deputies who were later charged with misconduct, oppression, and assault. There are 2 other officers still waiting to go to trial. And if I can be honest, good. Good. When we posted that video 2 years ago, I don't think there was a single person in the comments section, race, creed, political affiliation, that was opposed to how he was apprehended after learning what he did to Ellie Young. So there's a personal opinion. If you got a problem with that, come see me, 1960 Union Avenue. We got another story, continuing coverage out of Senatobia, Mississippi. Chief Harold Vanderford has found himself in some hot water, if you will, for, according to an investigative report, using racial slurs in text conversations over the last year. He apparently used these racial slurs 12 different times over the last year while in the position of chief for Senatobia Police Department. So what has the city had to say about that? Well, apparently the city of Senatobia is standing with Vanderford. Now, the chief faces calls for accountability from the community, rightly so. However, they're sticking by, they being the city of Senatobia, they're sticking by Vanderford. The police department has already been under fire, as many in our area are well aware of, for the deadly shooting of 1-year-old Cohen Wiley by an officer. And that's just the latest instance in a string of instances the Senatobia Police Department has faced over the last several years. So this is a statement from the mayor and the Board of Aldermen. They say they met with Chief Vanderford on Tuesday and say they believe that he gave sincere answers to all their questions. They added they still have the same confidences in him as when he was hired. Now, the Senatobia Committee for Accountability and Transparency, or SCAT for short, it's a community group there in Senatobia, they are planning to hold a press conference in response to this statement later at 1 o'clock. I'm wondering if we're going to send somebody. We get pitches every single day from reporters, our reporters, about what they are wanting to do, what's in our grid, what's in our planner. Michaela Redmond, who has been on this story multiple times since the tragic death of 1-year-old Cohen Wiley, she has pitched covering that press conference in Senatobia. We'll see if she is allowed to do that. If not, hopefully we're able to send someone down there. More continuing coverage, and hopefully one of the last times we covered this and hopefully closed the book on the case of Jashun Freeman. 7 Shelby County Corrections deputies that were indicted in the death of Jashun Freeman, they are reporting to court today, this morning. Now, this comes a week after Courtney Parham, if you remember, was convicted and Stephon Jones was acquitted in Freeman's death. Once again, 2022, that was when Freeman was in custody at 201 Poplar. He had an altercation, is the word that is being used. Though if you see the CTV footage, I've never had an altercation that violent, but he had an altercation with jailers and was restrained. We have a crew inside the courtroom right now to bring you the very latest on a case that is now at almost 4 years old. We're going to go to break, guys. We've got a lot of headlines here and a full show for you. I'll give you a bit of a preview. We've got our friends from La Prensa Latina joining us once again, as they always do on Fridays at 9:30. Then we've got guests from the University of Memphis in partnership with University High School, their on-campus school district. They have just received a large grant from the state to develop, think of it like an AI guidance counselor for high school seniors. And then finally, we've got a guest from an infectious disease expert from Methodist LeBonner Health to talk to us about some of the new mRNA vaccines. There's been one linked to the flu, and then also one that's been linked to melanoma and the potential that it could have for treating other cancers. mRNA being the revolutionary science that was introduced during the COVID-19 pandemic and then produced at mass scale with regard to the vaccine, now being implemented now that we've had a couple of years to really grasp this medical technology, this medical advancement, to see what other ailments they could address. A full show for you guys. We're going to go ahead and go to break. We'll come back with more of your headlines on the Action News 5 digital desk. All right, guys, welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. More headlines for you, starting with news about a potential ICE facility in Nashville. ICE is apparently planning to build a facility there, and some people are planning to fight back. This is a video from the Tennessee Immigrant and Refugee Rights Coalition. They held a community meeting last night to share what it knows about ICE's plan for the facility. Now, this comes after initial plans seemed to signal the facility would go in Adams, Tennessee, but a new state law requires all county-level law enforcement agencies to enter agreements by 2027, allowing them to collaborate with ICE on immigration enforcement. In a statement last week, ICE said the center would provide real-time operational support for its partners, and we here in the Mid-South have already had our history with potential ICE facilities. You've got the former CoreCivic facility in Mason being used as an ICE facility. You had a potential facility in Marshall County almost used as an ICE holding facility. So we've got our history here. It looks like Nashville is making history over there. In other news, also kind of sticking in Nashville, Tennessee Governor Bill Lee has granted executive clemency to 34 people. He's just got over 4 months left in his term. Now, this includes commutation for a man who will be released from prison after a murder conviction was overturned in 2023. The 33 other pardons, the governor says, very few of them involve crimes against other people. None involve sex crimes, thankfully. All recipients were recommended by the state board for parole. Governor Lee personally called all of them yesterday, we're told. He'll likely issue another round of clemency before he leaves office. And this is, you see this all the time when governors go. They grant pardons and clemencies. As a Mississippi resident, I remember when Haley Barbour, when he was governor, issued a slew of pardons. Switching to national news, guys, it appears that President Trump's Marine One, and I'm trying to find video of it, if you would grant me a little time here. Here it is. Yeah, here we go. Some video of President Trump, Marine One. Now, that's the helicopter that he takes. A report was released by the NTSB, the National Transportation Safety Board, on a near collision between Marine One and an American Airlines jet near Washington. NTSB revealed that radio communication failures and White House construction may have impacted contact between the two aircraft. According to the 7-page report, the helicopter failed twice to contact air traffic controllers at Reagan National Airport, and the jet came too close to Marine One shortly after takeoff, though President Trump obviously was unharmed because this apparently took place August 4th. It is August 28th. He's still there. So, interesting news. One more break, guys. We've got some good news and some stuff to look out for over the weekend. Let's go to break real quick, and we'll be right back on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. All right, guys, so to answer the question I know all of you have had, the design on my tie is the Leaping Tiger, Go Tigers Go, because meaningful football is finally back in America. And no stranger to that is going to be your Memphis Tigers, who tomorrow kick off in Las Vegas. They're facing the UNLV Rebels. And it's a new era for Tiger football. Dozens of new members on the roster, and the first game under head coach Charles Huff. Now, for a group of 6 participants like U of M, this is a game with potential college football playoff ramifications. This is a good matchup. The first time both programs have met. Kickoff is tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. Now, if you watch us in the morning and you get up early enough at 4 o'clock to watch me and Patrick Ellis, you would have seen our plea to the U of M to beat Dan Mullen. Patrick and I are both Mississippi State University graduates. Dan Mullen, longtime coach at Mississippi State, left us in dramatic fashion, now coaching at UNLV. I'd love to see him lose. I would. And that's selfish of me. But, hey, look, as long as the Tigers win, how we got there, are we going to question it? But go Tigers, go. My Leaping Tiger time. Reaction continues to pour in. Reaction and tributes after the passing of Dolly Parton. Fans from all over. This is video coming from Sevierville. Dolly Parton statue. You can see it right there, her holding her guitar, sitting outside the county courthouse. It has been there since the 80s, folks. That shows how impactful she was, even at a young age. But these flowers you see, folks are setting them down, but they're also picking them up. In true Dolly fashion, these flowers are not going to waste. There is a charity called Random Acts of Flowers collecting those flower donations and giving them out to hospitals and nursing facilities. There are also stuffed animals that you can kind of see as part of the donations. They're said to be going to the Dolly Parton Children's Hospital in Knoxville. It's rumored that this was allegedly planned by Parton herself, but that's not been officially confirmed. That would be true Dolly fashion, along with the secret song that's not going to be released until 2046. It is just sitting there mocking us in that chestnut time capsule at Dollywood. I mean, if you need a reason to stay alive until 2046, there it is, to listen to the secret song of Dolly. So, I mean, she deserves all of the tributes. And hey, look, if Star Wars can get May the 4th, I don't see why September 25th cannot be 925 Day for Dolly. So, just going to put it out there. We're about a month out. Let's get together. Let's all don some blonde wigs, learn to play guitar, and we'll celebrate 925 Day in dramatic fashion. Now, here back in Memphis, we're getting ready for our own special day. Not 925, but 901 Day. And we're here at Action News 5, Dave Brown Day. Dave Brown's 80th birthday, recently announced by the Shelby County Commission that 901 Day will also be Dave Brown Day. Now, for the more traditional 901 Day celebrateurs, events are going to be starting with creative mixers at the Halloran Center from 5 to 7. This is part of the official 901 weekend that kicks off tonight. Again, creative mixer at the Halloran Center from 5 to 7, followed by a live kickoff concert at the National Civil Rights Museum from 7 to 10. The night's also going to feature Shell on Wheels, a mobile stage, creative pop-ups, art displays throughout the South Main Historic District. And if you've never been to the South Main Historic District, it is so cool. Starts at the Orpheum, park your car at the Mobility Center, and just take a walk. You will see restaurants and museums and theaters and distilleries. It's Memphis on one street. If it's not Beale Street, go to South Main. That's my personal take. So we are getting ready to welcome our friends from La Prensa Latina, but I've got one more headline for you because most of us have an iPhone, and Apple could be gearing up for its biggest iPhone shakeup yet. Listen to this, a first ever foldable iPhone. Okay, it should say flippable, all right? It's a flip phone, not a fold phone, all right? Whoever wrote this script, I'm gonna have a talk with you. Who wrote this? Hannah. I'm going to get you, Hannah. Anyway, the flippable, we're going to do a little editorial review there. The flippable iPhone is expected to be unveiled at an event next month. We don't know when, we just know it's next month. This will be the first major product launch under the new CEO for Apple. That's John Turnus, who takes over for Tim Cook on 901 Day. We're just going to keep saying that. Analysts also expect new iPhones, Apple Watches, putting Apple in direct competition with Samsung's foldable lineup. And if you're like me and you've still got a 13 mini, well, this might not mean anything to you. But my 13 mini is still going strong 5 years later, and I'm going to do that till the wheels fall off. I don't know if I'll get a flippable iPhone. I'd rather go back to a Razr. Remember that we used to be a decent country. We had Nokias that didn't break, Razrs that were sleek and stylish and customizable. Well, sign of the times. More Action News 5 after the break, guys. We've got our friends from La Prensa Latina on right now, and they'll be joining us to talk about what's happening in their neck of the woods coming up after the break on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Morning, Jairo. Love the tie.
Hey, good morning. Thank you. Thanks, sir.
How are you?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. It's Friday. It's been
Hey,
a
it's
long
Friday. Yes, sir.
one. Walked outside today. The humidity was low. It was kind of like a taste of fall, and I was like, oh my gosh, it is almost September.
It is. It is. And how's things going over there?
Good,
Busy?
good. It's been a busy week. You know, we've been dealing with power outages, some wild stories, a lot of court dates. It's just been a lot of news of the day with continuing coverage kind of colliding. So we've had our hands full, but this is a good break for me.
There you go.
Just talk about some La Prensa Latina. And I loved all the
Good.
headlines. We had the, I'll talk to you about this in a second. We had Carissa Husong, executive director from the Metal Museum, on our show on Wednesday, talking about this very thing, the ribbon cutting, the grand opening.
Yeah.
I love the metal. Have you ever been to the Metal Museum?
But yeah, I have. It's a
Yeah.
great. I haven't been
love
to
that place.
the area itself is pretty awesome.
Yeah, hang on. Let's talk more about this on air. We are a few
Got it.
seconds out. All right, guys, welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. It's that time. You're on here on a Friday at 9:30 for one reason, and that's to watch me interview the folks at La Prensa Latina, our friends who've been so good. We're kind of matching with the white button down of the tie. We're getting in sync. Style-wise, we're getting in sync, Jairo. So it's good to see you. I've been looking at all of these covers. Let's go ahead. Let's start with, what do you want to start with? Like we were just talking about the Metal Museum. Let's start with the cover. Let's go into that. The United Festival, like September 13th, we have been beating the drum on that for the last couple of weeks. And so you've got the hardcover right there, but I'll throw it up real quick. Let's talk about it. This is exciting. I mean, we're 2 weeks out. A lot of prep has gone into this. Anything new? Any new developments, or are we just trying to get the word out there to drive it and to maximize attendance? Let's talk about that.
So as it continues to get closer to the date, we get some more people that are excited about participating. We had a couple of other food vendors that are gonna have like this Mexican cuisine torta ahogada style. So
Love it.
if you want to, when it comes down to food, if you want some authentic, unique food that you can't find at restaurants that you could probably only find at one of those at home, or if you didn't get invited, come to United Festival. You'll get invited to United Festival and get to try this food. So we've got more food. We have magic. We have Mago Lucio. We have a magician that's gonna be doing some magic show for kids. Of course, we have the burrito eating contest by Emilio's that's up there. So if you want to see some people just getting down on the burrito, and we have some spots available, so we'll make sure we get those. We opened some spots just for this opportunity. So if you think you can chow down a burrito in the quickest time, this is your spot, and you get to get some $100 gift card for Emilio, so that way you can go back and try the food.
Look, I had to chow down some barbecue nachos against Joey Chestnut at AutoZone Park. I think I'm good with eating competitions for maybe a lifetime. Man. But hey, look, I've already said why I can't be there.
Did you win?
I did not win. No, Joey Chestnut, much to the surprise of everyone at AutoZone Park, he won that competition. I know, hard to believe, but Someone tag in for me and go to that burrito eating contest. If not
That's
for
it.
any of the other stuff, I mean, it just sounds like a good time, and not to mention with the
Yes.
we were just talking off camera. The weather that we've had this morning, I walked outside my door and I was like, "This what? Wait a minute, this is great!" And so imagine in 2 weeks
Uh,
we get into the middle of
oh my God, I
September.
hope so.
It's I fingers crossed we get some good weather because if we do, Beale Street Landing, sunset on the river, incredible cultural immersion put on by La Prensa Latina. Like, I mean, I'm getting excited and I can't be there, and I've told you why. But dead
Yeah,
gummit,
yeah,
do it again.
that's right.
Do it again. We keep
Hey,
doing this United Festival, and
we'll do it again. So United
yeah,
Festival's here to stay. We'll be lighting up the bridge. It's free for it's free, so you come out,
right,
enjoy free music. We got some of the best cumbias out there. We'll teach you how to dance cumbia if you don't know how to dance cumbia.
okay,
We have
down
different
to learn.
styles of we have
Yeah,
Ole Studio who's gonna be bringing in a little bit of like uh it's traditional cumbia with a little bit of more of the flamenco. So it's like flamenco cumbia. So it's gonna be pretty cool.
okay,
But of course, we have the Mexican consulate coming out, and we're gonna be doing special ceremony at 7:30, which kicks off the lighting of the bridge too. So a lot of
yeah.
people get to enjoy that. And so
Again,
yeah, so
right
if
at
you get the
sunset.
opportunity to come out, and we'll enjoy it together.
And we'll continue to beat that drum. Hopefully, I'm here. We're T minus any day now, so hopefully I'm here next week to really give that last push for folks to be there on the 13th. Really excited.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
The week before that though, we've got the next cover. We were just talking. We actually had the executive director for the Metal Museum, Carissa Husong, to talk about the new Metal Museum at the former Memphis College of Art building, a very unique building that has needed a new tenant at Overton Park. Glad it's going to be the Metal Museum. We were just talking, you've been to the Metal Museum, I've been to the Metal Museum. It's great to give this place a new venue and a new, more central location, I think, for folks to be able to access. Not just that, but I mean, just down the street, you've got the zoo, you've still got the Brooks Museum of Art before the new Memphis Museum of Art opens downtown. You've got the golf course, you've
Right.
got Overton Park. It's going to be a key piece to that whole place. But I mean, talk about what you're going to be mentioning in La Prensa Latina.
No, no, of course, and I think you pretty covered it. Like, it's an amazing opportunity for the Metal Museum to be part of such great iconic places that you mentioned, and of course, it's been after 47 years that I love the previous facility too. Like, you get to see the river, you get to see it's like that old school, like it's got a history behind it, and so you're around there, and they have some of the greatest classes for ironworks and stuff like that. So of course, this new facility is going to bring a lot more excitement, a lot more opportunities for them for exhibitions, education, artistic creation, and other stuff that they have. So they're going to kick off again on September 5th at the 1930 Poplar Avenue location. So it's gonna I think we talked about this. They're gonna kick off with some music. So it's like a whole 3-day event that they're gonna be doing. So if you get the chance to do it, we talked about going to see the Corn Tribute, which I think I'm definitely gonna go with, which kind of falls into Overton series.
Uh
They're
huh.
gonna be also a part of that too.
And you mentioned the previous facility. Like that was a kind of a question that a lot of us had was what's going to happen to that place. I mean, it's kind of tucked away over by the bluff, but when you reach that gate, that beautiful, that ornate metal gate, you're like, oh, we're here. That's still going to be in the Metal Museum family. It's going to be sort of like an artist's residence for a metallurgist that might be coming to train or teach a class or bring somebody in. It'll still be under that umbrella of the Metal Museum. So it'll still be in the family. So it's not just going to be sitting vacant waiting for somebody to take it over, which is good because like you
Yeah.
said, like it's great. I mean, it's a great wedding venue. I know people have used that for wedding venues, the
Oh,
gazebo,
yes.
the scenic view over the river, the bridge. Like I'm glad to see it's still going to
It's
be
amazing.
in the
Yeah, yeah.
family. But yeah, no, really excited. The Metal Museum
And
enjoyed by all. If you've never heard of it, look it up, guys. It is such a
I think
cool.
it's I think it's
Yeah,
the only metal museum in the United States or the
it's.
largest.
I think it's
Might
like
even
it's
be
the
the world.
I think it's the National Ornamental Metal Museum because, when we go, we talk to the blacksmiths and they're like, hey, you've got a lot of old buildings in Memphis, old wrought iron gates that might be in the National Registry of Historic Places. And so there are certain standards that need to be met when it comes to fixing something or replacing something. And so you need to be trained in this. If it was made in the 1800s or the early 1900s, you got to be trained in that style. So there's still a need for like metallurgists to be there, and so they train there at the Metal Museum. And so they're always working on something. So yeah, it's a great asset to have. But let's move on. So we'll move on to sports. The headlines for sports real quick because we've had the full Grizzlies schedule released. Really excited for this young core, especially after what they did during Summer League. And so, I mean, that's felt all across Memphis, not just one part of Memphis. Like Memphians who love basketball, like we're ready for this season. We're excited.
Yeah, so and it's one of the things that, I follow soccer more and I was talking to my editor about the Grizzlies and stuff, but it's right now it's a challenging season, but it's still we look forward to it. It's a new generation of younger players that are coming
Right.
out. And of course, we look forward to having some of those games here in Memphis, which we start on October 21st when Memphis hosts the Utah Jazz at 7 at the FedEx Forum, which will be the first of 82 regular season games for the team. But of course, everybody also wants to kind of see them play against other teams here. One of the most popular ones is probably, of course, the Lakers, which they're going to play on November 29th. And so we look forward to seeing the Grizzlies and what they have. That promise of that new younger generation, and it's let's shape them up to it. And of course, for Memphis to come out and support them and really show them that Memphis spirit, that grit and grind.
Yeah, no. Have you gotten your Kareem Lopez jersey yet? I know you're a big Mexico
I
supporter,
need
so
to, I
has
need
that
to,
transitioned
yeah.
over?
So
Yeah.
hey, I need to. I've who did I talk to over at the Grizzlies? I forgot right now. But it's one of those like, hey, I gotta make an appearance out there. We
Yeah.
gotta support. So I know I've had a lot of people reach out and they're like, hey, now we're gonna be supporting the Grizzlies now that Kareem
I mean,
Lopez is
look,
in there.
I love it because when you've got not just for the Grizzlies, but the first ever like Mexican-born basketball player drafted in the first round, the Grizzlies pick him up in the first round. Kareem Lopez, a lot of promise behind him. Like, I mean, he's good enough to be taken in the first round. But I love that to see that representation and to see even fair weather basketball fans are like, oh, like I need to show the Grizzlies my support now. Like I love that. I love the cultural inclusion, and so it's good to see and good to see some excitement. Good to see people have been reaching out, trying to see. All right, when are we getting a group together? We need to get our jerseys. We need to go to a
Yeah.
game. So I think that's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, you'll be watching. You'll be seeing probably some. I can almost see it. Some Mexican flags hanging somewhere in the Grizzlies. I mean, somewhere at the.
Awesome. Well, Hyro, we've talked about a lot. We're going to continue to beat that drum for the United Festival.
I appreciate that.
And
Thank you.
folks, like the Metal Museum, the Grizzlies schedule, like it's great for all of us to kind of come together and support things that are in Memphis, things that are coming to Memphis. And we're able to do that thanks to our partnership with La Prensa Latina coming on the Action News 5 digital desk. So, Hyro, once again, we'll have you let folks know how they can get in touch with La Prensa Latina and give you a follow.
Yeah, appreciate it. So, of course, La Prensa on social media, we're at La Prensa Latina Media. You can pick up, or one of the new issues at one of your favorite stands, Mexican restaurants, etc. You can also follow us. I mean, go to laprensalatina.com on our website. We're always updating local news, national news, international news. So, find out what's happening with the Grizzlies, or you can also find out what's happening across the world. So I appreciate
Awesome.
the conversation, and I look forward to seeing you on next Friday.
Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed we'll still be there. Like I said, any day now
Yeah.
for baby number 3. So tentatively, I'm going to see you next Friday. But if not, man, hey, I'll see you when I get back. Best of luck with the United Festival. And so hopefully we'll next Friday. We'll see you.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Always a pleasure. We'll see you next time. Hello.
Hello, what time do you want me?
Back to the Action News 5 digital desk. We've had a few folks from the University of Memphis in the past on this show talking about the Polytechnic at the U of M, talking about the really spearheading of introducing AI into curriculum, whether that be bachelor's. I know they're working on master's programs. They've recently introduced an AI for all minor in the last couple of years to really introduce that at the ground floor of the academic level for students. But, and I'm a little biased because, as many people know, I have history, a career history, 3 years at the University of Memphis. So I say this with a tinge of bias that the University of Memphis, at least in the state of Tennessee, is really leading the charge among institutions with regard to AI. And so I've got another biased opinion on our show. We've got Dr. William Duffy, who is joining us now to talk about an upcoming conference we have next Thursday. It's AI, cybersecurity. We have a slew of guests and attendees at the FIT, the FedEx Institute of Technology there on U of M's campus. Dr. Duffy, first and foremost, good morning. Glad to have you on, another member of the Polytechnic, to come and talk about this conference. I want to give the floor to you to talk about this conference as a whole. AI, it feels like 5 years ago that we didn't even have chatbots like ChatGPT in our vernacular, and now it's where we're at the station yesterday. We were talking about Allen Iverson, and we're like, it's crazy that when we say AI, we don't think about Allen Iverson or basketball. We have to differentiate that between artificial intelligence. And now here we are, where we're having these conferences. We're trying to be productive and proactive with regard to AI in the world of higher education. So take us into that 30,000-foot view, if you will, for this upcoming conference we have next week.
Sure. Well, let me just say that I agree with you that I am biased. And while, it certainly makes sense that AI is pretty new for everyone, here at the university, it's quite old. We have one of the oldest, most established AI education research labs in the country that was founded in 1985. And as you mentioned, next week, we're going to be holding the third annual AI cybersecurity conference, which is an opportunity for leaders in industry, higher education, and other organizations to come together for a day and talk about their concerns and questions, to hear from experts in higher education and industry who are researching and deploying AI tools in their organizations. And with this conference in particular, it's a chance to really think about it from the inside out, starting with security and governance. Thinking about how you mitigate risks and what you have to do as organizational leaders from a design perspective before you even start tinkering with these tools. So it's, again, this will actually be my first time attending this conference, and I'm excited to learn alongside everyone else who attends.
I love that. And so when you talk about security, mitigating risk, for the layman out there loosely following AI and how it's incorporated into corporate America, public service, higher education, what are we talking with regard to research or students? I know we've had Roger Cruz from the Department of Psychology come on to talk about plagiarism with regard to papers. I think a lot of people, I love this meme. It's where you can look back and say, hey, if you ever feel down about yourself, just think back, okay, I got a bachelor's degree or a master's degree without using AI. So to make yourself feel a little better. But when we talk about those risks and we talk about the management of it, what particularly with regard to higher ed are we going to be addressing?
Well, I mean, just, as you opened this segment, you acknowledge that AI is very new for most people. And when it comes to agentic AI, machine learning, large language models, these tools are developing quicker than researchers, educators, and practitioners can be learning them, essentially. And so what the University of Memphis has really done that I think has been innovative in the AI and education space is to not start with the question of how to use these tools, but rather to step back and think about this tool use within a wider organizational context. We think about why these tools are going to be useful, what they're going to improve. When it comes to the question of risks, well, the first one is the people themselves. A lot of us don't know what exactly all this technology is and involves. AI itself is a buzzword right now that isn't very useful in our general conversation because it refers to so many different things. But that's one of the things, like, that's one of the reasons why I want to encourage anyone who is interested to come hang out with us for a day next week at the FedEx Center and learn about, specifically what are the tools that are now being used that we need to know about from a governance perspective. That means understanding who has access to these tools and who can direct them,
Right.
what these tools are going to help us do. So it's all of the above, when it comes to the human users, to the tools themselves. All of it requires us to be engaged and asking sort of the hard questions.
Gotcha. And I'm glad you mentioned that, this is really open to the public, and we'll have info and we'll talk logistics on the back end. But you look at the rundown and you see kind of an all-encompassing Memphis look where you've got people from Epicenter, you've got people from International Paper, you've got people from UT Health Science Center, and then you've got, the state CIO who's going to be coming as a keynote speaker. How important is it to have? I think a lot of people on the outside of higher ed think that U of M, UT, Vandy, MTSU, they're at each other's throats vying for students and faculty. But from a research perspective, there's a lot of collaboration that goes into things like AI and other research working together. And so how important is it to have that buy-in, that collaboration from statewide institutions and, of course, companies right here in Memphis at the Fortune 500 level to be a part of this discussion as we, tread through this knee, waist, shoulder deep waters of AI that we've found ourselves in?
It's incredibly important. And I think that's part of the reason why in the Mid-South here, why we see so much interest and innovation in this AI space. One of the things that, there's going to be a panel during this conference that's going to report on updates from a research consortium around AI that involves all of the institutions you just named. One of the things that, I think that we can all agree with is that this technology, both the values and the risk it introduces, no one is immune to it. And so we need to rise to the challenge and collaborate to find the best kinds of uses and solutions to these problems as they arise. But Memphis, again, I'm excited to be a part of this community. Memphis itself, as you mentioned, this is the regional hub for logistics, healthcare. We are leading the state, I think, when it comes to applied AI, especially. That is, when it comes to figuring out how organizations can use these tools, when they should use these tools, and how to lead with expertise and human judgment first.
Fantastic. And you're right when you say that no one's immune to this. It touches everything. If you look at the rundown, you're going to see professors that are in business, in engineering, in medicine. There are so many aspects AI has been touching, and you're right. It's about management, time and place for everything, if you will, and to use it as a good steward in collaboration with business, with public service, with higher education, I think, is going to be so important for Tennessee, at least, in how we navigate this. Let's talk logistics. We did talk about open to the public. How can folks find out more information, get involved? We've got about a week to plan out, but let's.
Yeah, so this is going to take place next Thursday. It's August 27th from 8:30 to 5. The event is free. Lunch is included. Parking is included. There is limited space though, and so it will fill up. If anyone is interested in attending, they can go to the FedEx Center's website, which is memphis.edu/FedEx, and just scroll down and you'll see a big window with the conference logo and a button that says register.
I love it. And of course, we'll have this info on our website as well. So try to multi-front approach. Lastly, I'll give a shameless plug to the Polytechnic. First day of school is next Monday. We've got the Bachelor of Applied Sciences in full swing now that we got the approval. I say we, the royal we. I'll still claim we. But THEC given that approval, how are things going with regard to the BAS, getting things on the ground with MAS, and of course, you having so much knowledge about the AI for All minor. I mean, like you said, really spearheading, implementing that into curriculum. How's all that going?
It's going great. We are really excited to roll out the BAS. For those that who don't know about this, this is a new degree that is especially designed for career changers, for working professionals, for folks who sort of have a lot of lived, kind of earned professional experience. You can transfer. We are a transfer-friendly program, but this degree program is a chance for people who have expertise and knowledge in applied fields to come get a degree with a focus in something like applied AI, where they can then go and be innovators in their own space.
I love it. And we had your boss, Dr. Russ Deaton, on a few weeks ago to talk about the transferability. I really, really appreciated his inclusion of TCAPS, the Tennessee College of Applied Sciences.
Absolutely.
Those learned experience, those degrees that come from there as an easy transferable earned course credit, if you will, to go right into a BAS and build on that and make them a more desirable employee in the workforce. So it's great what y'all are doing. I can't wait to see how it progresses as we get to the MAS, and we'll see how much the Polytechnic grows. I hate to cut you off, but we're at 10:30. Dr. William Duffy, looking forward to seeing how this conference turns out, the third annual AI plus Cybersecurity Conference, FedEx Institute of Technology at the University of Memphis. Thanks again for coming on, Dr. Duffy. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, happy Friday, y'all. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Addison Bentley. Well, I got your Memphis guide for today. I'm super excited about this one. We got 901 weekend. We've got a whole bunch going on. So I'm kind of going to cut us over exactly what you can expect for your weekend, break it down for you. You got a lot going on. You can expect, I'll even talk about the forecast for you today. I'm going to break this down every week for you and what you can expect. I'm actually getting all these events off the I Love Memphis vlog, so you can definitely check it out. It'll be on my article on our website here on the Action News 5 website under the weather tab as well. So let's talk about it. Got 901 weekend celebrations for the weekend. So this is going to be Friday all the way to your Tuesday, actually on 901 day. Also on September 1st, we're going to Dave Brown Day, as well as his birthday is on Tuesday. So these are going to be at bars, restaurants, neighborhoods, spots, Memphis-wide. The cool thing is they're going to have special $9.01. Ha, get it? 901 day. So that's going to be a cool thing as we head into the rest of the weekend. Something to look forward to. We're going to have some nice weather. We also, on your Friday, this is looking in tonight, along with all the football we're seeing, we're also seeing the plant parties at Memphis Botanic Gardens. This is going to be all across the gardens as well. And then heading into your Recess Reloaded at Mud Island. That's going to continue for Mud Island Park from 11 to 6 p.m. The cost is about $35 to $50 as well for your Memphis Roller Derby, the 20th anniversary. That's going to be from 4 to 7 o'clock at the Pipkin Building, and that's going to be a cost of about $15, $5 with the age of 3 to 13. So again, we have a lot happening, super exciting things. Going to show you your 10-day forecast so you can expect with the weather. 92 degrees for today. That's what we're looking at for your Saturday into the mid-90s, 97 for your Sunday. Lower humidity is going to allow for those feeling temperatures to not be as high. It's going to feel even better than you think outside. So definitely something to look forward to as you head throughout the day. For your Saturday, we're looking into the mid-90s, some even just sitting into lower 90s. The nice thing about football games as you're heading into the overnight hours for today, we're looking at those temperatures only into the upper 60s, lower 70s. So that's going to allow those temperatures to be lower, but feel good outside, especially if you're looking at the football games. Go into them sitting on the bleachers watching anybody. By your Saturday, even nicer, as well as the mid-90s. Humidity stays low for the weekend until Monday. Yeah, Monday, sadly, we're going to rebound with the humidity as well as the temperatures. That's going to allow those feel-like temperatures to get in the range, I would say about 105 to 110 by the middle of the week. So something to keep in mind, and then we'll slowly rebound back to about 99 on your Thursday. So we're not done with the heat yet. We're ending August with a bunch of events for you for your Memphis Weekend Guide, as well as some nice temperatures out there before we hit some hotter temperatures heading into the weekend. Again, I'm First Alert Meteorologist Addison Bentley with your Memphis Weekend Guide. We'll have another one as we head into next week as well.
Oh my gosh. Clipped my mic. Gosh, Addison took it. She gave it back, but I just didn't see it. All right, folks. Going to get into a little bit of international, national news. We've been following last couple of days the situation in Nepal. I want to see if I can find it because, yeah. For those who are just now hearing about this, who have not been following it, there was a glacier that collapsed in the Himalayas that sent dramatic flash flooding, devastating flash flooding. This is near the Nepal-Chinese border, the Tibetan section of China. It swept away buildings, bridges, vehicles. 547 people had been killed, as well as, I believe there are still 1,000 people missing. 3,700 people have been found and recovered. But there's a bit of a all-encompassing package that kind of gives the full rundown on it from our partners over at CNN.
We're at the Nepali Army barracks right now, and we've just seen another helicopter. I mean, one of dozens that have arrived over the past 30 minutes. And it looks as though people are getting off right now holding some kind of luggage. We can't tell if these people are survivors or whether these are people of loved ones who are trying to find any remaining survivors.
In our village, there are no people left. It's a very difficult situation. The villagers were scared and ran to get to safety, but didn't know where to go. There's no food or drinkable water, all swept away by the landslide.
These are all relatives of people still missing, and because they can't get in contact with them, they've come here to the Army barracks to give their contact information, their names, trying to see if the people that the Army are finding are the same people as their loved ones.
Yesterday only we rescued 900 persons from most affected area. We are trying to intensify the search and rescue operations, but due to some, the heavy mud due to the flood, and another, the challenging factor here is the weather itself.
The rain.
Yeah, rain and weather.
Have you seen anything like this? How are you feeling about this disaster?
I haven't seen this kind of, disaster in my life.
So these people here, they're looking for the names of their family members on these pieces of paper here, and there are hundreds of names.
I love it. Among the missing, the U.S. State Department reports 90 are Americans. And we've actually got a bit of a local tie-in. 22 of those missing are from Tennessee. They're from McMinnville, Tennessee, which is sort of an hour and some change southeast of Nashville. So Middle Tennessee, these are part of a spiritual group. They were there for a sort of pilgrimage. They were among the 90 missing. One of the three, I believe the State Department updated us that 3 of the missing Americans have been rescued. One of them spoke with our partners at CNN to give her reaction to all of what had just happened a couple of days ago.
The way it came just like a tsunami. It just came going all the way up. And just like a tsunami, how it sweeps going like a row, it just took the buses, the vans, houses, people, everything. We saw people just getting sucked in the water. It was so traumatizing to see that. People are screaming, but of course water doesn't hear anything. It just kind of sucked them in. I don't know if they were thrown away somewhere in the shore, but then this happened. It was just a span of 30 minutes. In 30 minutes, everything was swept and gone. There was no water after that.
How are you doing?
We are doing well. Just seeing so many people die, I think it's going to last for a while. It's going to linger for a while. I don't know if we will get over it anytime soon. It was very disturbing. The speed at which the things came down, and we were very fortunate. But that aside, I think we're fortunate. We're blessed to be here. So from that perspective, we're doing good. We are okay. personally. But
does it feel kind of surreal to just be sitting here and leaving the embassy and with the temporary passports and just everything that you've gone through?
It is surreal. I just don't know, that what I've been asking myself, why me? In the reverse sense, why was I saved? And so many people had to go. So this, I don't know if I'll find the answer, but something worked somewhere and we survived. And a lot of people.
All right, guys, welcome back. In national news, okay, who remembers being in elementary school, you're in geography class, and you're learning how to name the Great Lakes? Well, when I was in school, we did it by an acronym. HOMES, Huron, Ontario, Michigan, Erie, Superior. Well, after an executive order from President Donald Trump, it's going to be HAMES for Huron, America, Michigan, Erie, and Superior, after the president signed an executive order to rename Lake Ontario to Lake America. Well, in upstate New York, there's reaction to the name change.
On the shore of Lake Ontario, the water looks the same. The sun still sets here. People still skip rocks. Families still eat beside it. But in Washington, it now has a different federal name. Oswego County backed Donald Trump in 2016, 2020, and again in 2024. Robert Cold says he's been with Trump from the beginning, just not on this.
I've been on his side all the way, right from day one, but I think he's losing it here. I just assume that remained Lake Ontario.
And for Code, that name comes with memories.
I remember riding my bike around here 70 years ago, taking a pop bottle out and taking a drink out of the lake. Way back 70 years ago.
The water behind me hasn't changed. Only the name on federal paper has. And along Lake Ontario, that's putting some Trump supporters and critics on the same side. Sisters Teresa Shalone and Patricia Hardwick grew up in Fulton and say their question isn't just what to call the lake, but what deserves a president's attention.
Absolutely not. No.
What do you think?
There's too many people, too many kids that need Head Start and, they're cutting the...
City of Oswego Mayor Robert Corradino tells us the city has no plans to replace its Lake Ontario signs or materials unless it's required to, and says doing so would be, quote, a very costly endeavor.
No. It's Lake Ontario. It's our lake. It's Oswego, Canada. It's Lake Ontario. Never, ever.
In Oswego County, I'm Gary Robinson, Jr.
So some interesting developments, and of course, here in the Mid-South, people who go to the beach, we typically go to the Gulf Coast, where the Gulf of Mexico is now the Gulf of America. So a lot of America in our bodies of water bordering the country. Speaking of D.C., we've got some reaction from National Guard members in Washington. We're coming up on the one-year anniversary of the deployment of the Memphis Safe Task Force, but before that, it really started in the nation's capital when President Trump deployed National Guardsmen as a way of curbing violence in the nation's capital. Well, they've just hit their one-year mark, their anniversary. We've got this story here where National Guardsmen and women talk about their experience in the nation's capital over the last year.
I'm just always blown away. There's someone still willing to raise their right hand and go do the nation's hard work. And so I'm inspired every day.
General Leland Blanchard from the D.C. National Guard has no doubt his troops have played a role in this year's 30% drop in homicides.
There's 100% certainty in my mind. I don't think you can get around it.
If you ride the Metro in D.C., you see those uniforms every day, and Metro leadership reports the transit system is experiencing the lowest level of crime anyone can remember.
You can clearly go to Metro stations and see our soldiers and the number of responses, the number of times that their Metro Transit officers have requested our assistance.
In spite of all that, having armed, uniformed troops on the streets remains controversial. The ACLU calling it the militarization of the nation's capital, while the troops themselves say they do sometimes get yelled at while they're on patrol.
I would just ask them to take a moment and engage these airmen and soldiers out there and talk to them. Don't just say, hey, why are you here? Ask them, why do you serve? Ask them what's in their heart.
Blanchard adds that the vast majority of conversations are positive.
I saw that last night when I was out at a park in a rougher neighborhood where I had someone come up and bring us food.
Last summer, the deployment of troops was criticized for seeming to focus on tourist areas like Union Station and in Georgetown, rather than places where there is typically more street crime. Blanchard says they are now patrolling all over the city.
We also have DC Guardsmen who live and work in those communities. One of my most senior people actually lives in Ward 8, and we were talking yesterday about the impact as he has seen it.
All right. Hey, Lauren, how are you?
Hey, how are you, Parker?
I am well, thank you. Remind me, your last name, Beaupre?
Beaupre. Like
Beaupre.
bow and arrow,
Got it.
say a prayer. Yep.
Perfect. Okay, good. Well, hey, we're in break right now. I could go. Are you ready to go now?
I can do whatever you need me to do.
Let's do it. Okay, good. I could have gone to like a national package, but you're on. I've got all the info in front of me. This will be great. Okay, I'm pumped. All right,
Sounds
we
good. Thank you,
are
everyone.
about. Oh, are you kidding? Anything for university schools, anything for Sally, U of M, happy to do it. And this is great. This is not just me just tooting horns here. Like, this is actually really cool. So
Yeah, we're really excited. I think it's going to be pretty awesome.
I bet. And so, all right, we're about 10 seconds out. I'm going to introduce you, give a bit of a preview, and then we'll go into it. And this can last, as long as we want it to. We're pretty flexible. Here we go. All right, folks, welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Got a very fun story, a bit of collaboration between K-12 and higher ed. And here in Memphis, for those who don't know, we find ourselves with a unique asset in university schools, an on-campus K-12 district, an innovative school district on the campus of the University of Memphis. They've found themselves in a little bit of money from the state. So the state's, it's called the State Collaborative on Reforming Education, also known as SCORE. They set up this AI Innovation Fund recently. It's about $450,000 going in increments of $50,000 to 9 different education entities across the state for this type of AI intervention. And one of those schools, one of those entities, if you will, was none other than University High, University Schools. I'm welcoming onto the show Lauren Beaupre. She's the Assistant Director of Academic Innovation for University Schools. Lauren, good to see you. Welcome to the show. Let's first talk about this AI Innovation Fund, getting this $50,000. This, I mean, just on its face, this is quite an achievement for University Schools and University High, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, thanks, Parker. We are so excited to have this opportunity. Over the past few years, as we've built out University High, we've really been focusing on expanding opportunities for kids, particularly early post-secondary opportunities through things like dual enrollment, as well as experiential learning and things like our senior capstone program, internships, et cetera. So what this does, this money from SCORE, this grant through their AI Innovation Fund, is going to give us an opportunity to really take that to the next level. And the way we're going to do that is through building something we're calling Tiger Navigator, which is an AI-powered ecosystem. So pretty pumped.
Yeah, so when I read about Tiger Navigator, you're doing this in collaboration with the University of Memphis. Let's get into that first, because U of M, we've talked about that. They've really been leading the charge among other institutions in the state of Tennessee with regard to AI implementation, AI innovation, really incorporating that into curriculum, trying to push different degree programs to this new era that we find ourselves in with AI. So what does that partnership look like, first and foremost, working with the U of M to develop Tiger Navigator, and then we'll get into what it actually is?
No, sounds great. Obviously, that is one of the greatest benefits that we have here at University Schools is being able to leverage the wide expertise on campus. And so what that looks like for us has been, several exciting things. The university is launching a new degree in applied AI. We've had students enrolled as dual enrollment students in some of the AI for all coursework on campus. And then really just finding ways to work with other professionals, instructional design folks, to really bring different kinds of expertise together as we try to build this new project.
I love it. And so, I mean, it's very self-explanatory. Tiger, because university schools, y'all are also Tigers. You're on the campus of the Tigers. And so, but also Navigator. So the way I read it, it sounds like an AI guidance counselor in a way. Like this is a way for seniors at University High to really reflect on their high school career, their interests, and hopefully start to develop potential career paths when they start to think about going to college or the next steps after graduation. And if I've completely botched that, let me know. But the way I read it, it almost sounds like an AI type guidance counselor. I'd love for you to go and talk more about what Tiger Navigator will actually be.
Sure, you're definitely on the right track. So
Okay,
we
good.
do position it as not replacing our guidance counselors, not replacing our advisors, but really
Sure.
expanding the capacity to help students just by bringing another tool in that can help contribute to those conversations, prepare students for them. What we want this tool to do is really a few things. One, help students reflect on the experiences they've already had. Think about their own employability and competency skills. Where are they strong? Where do they have room to grow? How can AI help us bring some of those different pieces that can feel disconnected to teenagers, start to bring them together so that they can have even more meaningful and intentional conversations with their real life counselors or advisors, and really come up with an individualized post-secondary plan that works for them.
So I love that we've already gotten, or we will be getting the money from SCORE, $50,000. What does the implementation process look like? Is $50,000 enough to develop this? And if so, what does creating and implementing in partnership with U of M, having that amazing collaboration, what does that look like? When do we start to see a Tiger Navigator being implemented for seniors at University High?
Sure. So this fall, we're really focused on kind of the design and development. One
Got
really
it.
cool feature of the project is we actually are able to hire two 12th grade students as Tiger Navigator fellows, pay them paid internships as part of their capstone
Very
experiences
nice.
to help build this. So I'm really excited about students being involved in the design.
Yeah, no kidding. Because it's not just, U of M professors coming on to basically, take the whole, project on their own. Like this will actually have buy-in from these student interns and hopefully others as they try to put this thing together. And so, ballpark, when do you think we could realistically see? So we're in the design phase this fall. When's the hope to actually put this thing to the test, if you will, actually start to have those conversations, those navigations with seniors at University High?
Yeah, so we feel pretty confident that we will be able to truly launch our pilot in January with the class of 2027.
Great.
Their senior capstone. And that of course will involve some testing, some refining, but we feel very confident we'll have a full-scale pilot then that we can then refine for the 27-28 school year.
So this AI Innovation Fund, this looks like something that SCORE wants to continue to do, I understand. And so anything else we might have in the queue at University High? We really struck gold with this new fund and this Navigator, really catching the eye of SCORE that got us this money to launch this program. Anything else we have our heart set on to try and modernize high school at University High or university schools as a whole? Anything that it might be on the radar?
Yeah, so I think for us, what that looks like is continuing to build on the Tiger Navigator platform
Got
and
it.
almost build towards maybe all the way back into our middle school with project-based learning and really designing intentional kind of semester-long projects that are career aligned, career focused, even for some of our younger students, because we know how important the middle grades are from a counseling perspective.
Got it. And so, university schools as a whole has really had its flowers as of late, whether it's TCAP scores, whether it's actually like branching off into its own innovative school district. I mean, this is another feather in the cap to reach out to SCORE to actually receive this funding. I mean, as someone in your position that oversees stuff like this, I mean, you've got to be on cloud nine right now to be able to offer this to your students as you try to modernize this guidance counselor world, not replacing guidance counselors, but giving them a new tool to better equip students to have sort of their future figured out. Gosh, how many times do freshmen in college go into their freshman year not knowing what they want to do? They're undecided, they're undeclared. But with a guidance counselor that helps them pinpoint what they might want to do after walking the stage at graduation, I mean, that's got to make you feel good to better prepare your students.
Absolutely. You know, I think we at university schools and really statewide have done a really good job continuing to expand access for students to some of these opportunities, but those opportunities and experiences by themselves aren't enough. Students have to be able to make meaning out of them, so that that can drive kind of their intentionality in the decisions they make after they walk across that stage.
I love it. Lauren Beaupre with University Schools talking about Tiger Navigator, developing this fall semester, hoping to implement it in the spring for this upcoming senior class, this AI type guidance counselor to help better prepare students. What an accomplishment to get the funding from SCORE, and what an innovation. I guess that it's almost like Apple with apps. There's an app for that. There's an AI for that these days. So thank you again for coming on the show, giving us some insight in what's going on in this regard for university schools. Wishing you the best of luck, and can't wait to see how it progresses over the next year or so. Thanks again for coming on.
Thank you, Parker.
Love it. University schools is awesome. I'm just going to say that. I don't even think I have to be biased to say that. They're just straight up awesome. So thanks again to Lauren and for University Schools, University of Memphis, for setting up that interview. Really excited to see the development there and the technology. Guys, we're going to go to break real quick, but thanks again to Lauren and for the University Schools team for coming on. We'll have more Action News 5 Digital Desk after the break. Thanks again, Lauren. Great stuff.
No, thank you. Appreciate it. I hope you have a great day.
You too. Have a good weekend. All right, guys, welcome back. Still got a few minutes before our guests from Methodist Le Bonheur to talk about vaccine technology. So we're going to go now to Texas. We've been almost speaking ad nauseum about wildfires, sort of out the west. We even had one wildfire in South Mississippi that was not that dramatic, but I mean, it's touching pretty much all parts of the country. And most notably, recently in Texas, the Corky Fire is what it's being called, having burned tens of thousands of acres and causing evacuations in large swaths of the state. We've got this update for you.
Water, Gatorade, and snacks all headed to the first responders battling the Corky Fire. Farmhouse Friends owner Kayla Goodson is making trip after trip to get those supplies to crews.
Drinks, snacks to keep them going. Nobody has an idea of when this is going to stop right now.
Her husband is among the volunteer firefighters battling the fire.
I was able to see him, give him a hug, and see what he needs and see what everybody else needs.
But her reason for helping goes even deeper.
My dad is a very big helper, and it's very heavy on his heart to be a helper, and he passed away yesterday, and this is where I'm needed. Just to help my community, this is why I put my center here.
She says her father taught her to show up for others, and now she's passing that lesson on.
Because it's not just our fire departments that need the assistance, it's every fire department. Living in a rural area, most of the fire departments around here are volunteer based, and we run solely on donations.
While we talked, a donation was dropped off and Goodson loaded up her truck for a second time to deliver those supplies.
This is my second truckload, so my dad would be proud.
Good stuff there. Now we're going to go to New York. Back in New York, I know we were just talking about Lake Ontario turning into Lake America, but it's state fair season, and in New York, the state is losing farms, farmland, at a faster rate than the national average, apparently. Well, the state fair in New York is looking to address that.
Farmers aren't afraid of hard work. It's thanks to them that New York is one of the largest producers of dairy in the nation. Grape and apple orchards from the Finger Lakes to the Hudson Valley to Long Island are internationally recognized. But a rich farming history doesn't guarantee a robust future. Farmers now face rising costs of land, fuel, and equipment. State and federal regulations impact access to farmland and a workforce.
We have a lot of career development events and leadership development events that focus on career readiness. So we're actually getting our students ready for the career that they're interested in.
New York's Future Farmers of America chapter is working to make sure there is a next generation ready to take on that challenge.
When we go through time in advance, we have so much innovation. I mean, farming has completely changed from just even like 10 to 15 years ago. I mean, now we have AI and all this different technology that we're navigating.
State and federal regulations and environmental policies can often conflict. Political disputes in D.C. and Albany over international trade, immigration, and agricultural funding often leave New York farms caught in the middle.
There's a lot of policies on farmers and the restrictions that they have and things that they can implement. And so when we think about policy, especially when it's like in fertilizers or what farmers are allowed to use on their different farms, it's not always is the policies that they're making have a positive impact. When we think about farming and everything, not everyone has a true understanding or background of what farming looks like.
New technology, automation, and more efficient farming practices are creating new opportunities and changing the skills employers need. FFA leaders say exposing students to those careers early could be critical to keeping New York's agricultural workforce growing.
And now one more story for you. We're going to go now to the Gulf Coast in the Mobile, Pensacola area where over 1,000 pounds of debris are being cleared from the reefs in an effort of conservation.
Take a look at this. From tires to fishing lines, debris like this was found at 10 Destin Fort Walton Beach artificial reef sites. The Destin Fort Walton Beach Natural Resources team partnered with Force Blue to remove more than 1,000 pounds of debris from the reefs.
We are, I believe, a team of 5-ish divers, and so trying to tackle that on our own can be difficult. So getting help from Force Blue is wonderful. They are trained to do this type of work, and they like to lift heavy things. So why not have them help us out?
Those that helped had to be scuba certified, bring their own gear, and use special equipment like lift bags and more to get the debris out.
We have mesh bags, kind of something like this right here, that will put lead weights, line, any other trash we find. We also use zookeepers, which is normally used to hold lionfish after catching them, so it doesn't harm the diver with their venomous spines, but they're very valuable with helping removing line from your hands because it can get tangled up.
Divers recovered a lot of fishing line. In fact, Okaloosa County officials say all told, the line was about 12 miles long, and line like that can be dangerous for marine life. Wednesday, our cameras captured crews with the Navarre Beach Sea Turtle Conservation Center rescue a Kemp Ridley sea turtle caught in a fishing line.
Over time, it might start as a small amount of fishing line, but as those turtles continue to travel and visit other areas, it collects more and more marine debris. And we've had cases where we've rescued turtles where it's 10 to 20 pounds of fishing line.
The mission, the sixth time the teams have worked together to clean up area reefs. They say more cleanups will be done in the future.
Working with these people, it gets to meet people who are also passionate about protecting our environment, wanting to make it better for future people, for the future generations, so that way they can enjoy it as well.
All right, good morning, guys. We're in break. How are y'all?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Excited to talk
Good.
about this.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for
having
coming
us.
on. Yeah, for sure. I know I was fascinated about the other the Moderna Merck mRNA vaccine with melanoma, and now
Yeah.
we've got this flu vaccine. So good to see some medical tech innovation here. So yeah, no, I think people, they hear mRNA and they associate it with COVID and not necessarily the science of it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's really branching out to a lot of different areas.
Yeah, which I think is important to note, which is why you're here. Okay, we are 15 seconds out. I'll do a quick intro and then we'll go right into it. Folks, welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. There have been some medical innovations with regard to mRNA technology. And speaking off camera with our next guest, I think a lot of people, they hear the term mRNA and they automatically assume we're talking about COVID-19 vaccines. Well, it was part of that, the technology at least, to develop the vaccine. But as you're about to hear, it's starting to branch off into other facets of vaccination, medical technology. A couple of weeks ago, we brought on in our shows mention of an mRNA vaccine, or at least an mRNA type vaccine that addresses melanoma. And now we have a recently FDA approved vaccine with regard to the flu. And to help us talk more about this, our local expert, Dr. Sri Mazumdar from our friends at Methodist Le Bonheur Healthcare, coming on to talk to us about this technology. I feel like, we're already well past the halfway point for 2026. We'll already be in flu season before we know it. So I think it's great to have a local expert like yourself to try and give us some insight. And so going into that first and foremost, I think when people, again, hear mRNA, they're automatically thinking of a Pfizer or a Moderna or a Johnson & Johnson type shot when it comes to COVID-19. What specifically is, in a nutshell, mRNA technology, and how is it different from the traditional method in which we've vaccinated ourselves? Good morning.
Good morning, Parker. So for the traditional flu vaccine, for instance, the flu vaccine will contain a piece of weakened virus that we will show our immune system. The immune system recognizes that, and then when it's actually exposed to the virus in the future, it's ready to fight it. mRNA technology is a little bit different. You can think of it almost like a temporary recipe card where our cells are given instructions to produce a protein that looks like the virus. It's not actually the virus. And then our immune systems get an opportunity to see that, recognize that, and then when we're exposed to it in the future, it's better able to attack the virus and fight it.
Gotcha. And so, yeah, when it comes to flu vaccines, I think, at least how I've understood it when I've covered flu season in previous jobs as a reporter, is they explain it like, well, we've got several strands of flu. We really taken a very educated guess about what we think the predominant strand is going to be for that season. We put it into a vaccine and in a weakened state. We mass produce that, and we hope that that's the one that has the prevalence during flu season. So this is a little bit, it sounds like a little bit more of a calculated approach, if you will. Did I get that right? Not a medical professional, but did I interpret that correctly?
That's pretty good, Parker. You're exactly right.
Okay,
And
there
so,
we go.
with the traditional flu vaccine, scientists are trying to develop that flu vaccine many, many months before the flu season actually rolls around. So they are making a guess about which strains of flu to best target in the vaccine that's going to match up to the flu season. And so when flu season rolls around, sometimes a traditional flu vaccine is a good match, and then sometimes it's not such a good match, which is why we see the effectiveness of the flu vaccine change from year to year. The advantage of mRNA technology and the mRNA flu vaccine is speed, because these vaccines can be actually manufactured in many weeks instead of months. And that allows for a better potential match to the flu strains that are circulating during a flu season.
And so, like you just said, sometimes the more traditional vaccine is effective. This mRNA vaccine could be effective. Speed and efficiency is going to be kind of the key determining factor. So when we get into flu season, or at least well into flu season, when we start to push, getting your flu shot this season, what are some of the questions that a patient should ask their primary care physician when it comes to trying to figure out what's the best vaccine for them? Are they going to be better off with the traditional vaccine or an mRNA vaccine? It sounds like it's going to be like a case-by-case basis depending on what that conversation with your doctor looks like.
Exactly. It really depends on the patient. So, for instance, with this new mRNA flu vaccine, it was approved for people age 50 and older. So, that's the only group right now that can actually access this new mRNA flu vaccine. And when it was approved, it actually got two different pathways of approval. So, the new mRNA flu vaccine is fully approved for people between the ages of 50 and 64. But for people over the age of 65, this new mRNA flu vaccine received temporary accelerated approval. And what that means is that the FDA is asking the vaccine manufacturer, which is Moderna, to conduct some additional trials to see how well the mRNA vaccine holds up to the high dose flu vaccine, which is what we typically recommend for people age 65 and older. So the type of flu vaccine that you need really is broken down by age. So again, people over the age of 50 can get the mRNA flu vaccine, or they can get a traditional flu vaccine, and people over the age of 65 should get either an mRNA flu vaccine or a high dose or adjuvanted flu vaccine, because that provides a stronger level of protection. Anyone over the age of 6 months should be vaccinated. And for children that are 8 and under that are getting their flu vaccine for the first time, they actually need 2 doses 4 weeks apart. So that's something that parents and caregivers really need to think about when they're thinking about the timing of when to get their child vaccinated.
And you're segueing perfectly into my next question, because we just finished, we just wrapped on back to school coverage. My kids are in school now, and I feel like they come home and they're basically a walking petri dish with what they've been exposed to. So for parents out there, maybe they're sending their kids off to school for the first time. They have those young kids between ages 4 and 5 or 8, and they're trying to figure out what the best time is to get those 2 doses of the flu vaccine if they are under 8. What are best practices for parents, especially those who have just put their kids into school, as we approach flu season for this year?
So we generally recommend that for most people, they try to wait until the end of September, October to get the flu shot. And that's because the traditional flu vaccine, the efficacy does wane with the passing months. And flu season tends to peak usually between December through February. So if somebody gets a flu shot too early, by the time the peak season rolls around, they may not have that maximal level of protection. However, for people that are, for instance, pregnant women in their 3rd trimester of pregnancy, or for children under 8 who are getting their flu vaccine for the first time, now would be a good time, and sooner is better. But ultimately, I really feel that the best vaccine for someone is the one that they actually get. For some people, if they don't get their flu vaccine now, they're not going to get it later, and getting it early is better than not getting it at all.
Got it. And so, this mRNA technology is so fascinating, as we were talking about how it's just opening up so many doors for medical opportunity, with regard to a few weeks ago, Moderna and Merck with the melanoma vaccine, and how they hope it can open the doors for other treatments of cancer. What, if in your circles, if there's anything you're kind of in the know on, anything else on the horizon with regard to what else this mRNA technology might be able to address?
Parker, I think you said it best. They're really branching out with this technology and not just using it for infections, but for cancers and malignancies. And in the infectious disease world, there is some hope that it can be used to be branched off and protect against other viruses. So I think it's something that's evolving, and I do think we're going to continue to see more and more of this technology used going forward.
Kind of a personal question, but as an infectious disease expert like yourself with so much experience, this has got to be exciting for you to see. It's almost like, an old dog learning new tricks as far as the medical industry is concerned. The polio vaccine was how many decades ago, and we're still using iterations of that. But to see consistent technological improvements, medical technology improvements like mRNA, does it get you excited as a physician just to see, oh my gosh, something new, something effective, something that's different that can actually have better results or more impactful results than what we've traditionally seen?
Absolutely. I think the advancements are so exciting, and especially for something like flu. I mean, last flu season, Parker, there were over 39 million cases of flu, over 390,000 hospitalizations related to flu, 24,000 flu-related deaths, and
Right.
179 of those occurred in children. So when we see new things evolving and advancements, I think it's really, really good to have options, and I find that very exciting.
I certainly do too, and I'm, not by any means a medical professional, but anything we can do to help decrease hospitalizations, death, mass infection, I think is a good piece to a betterment to society. Dr. Sri Mazumdar, thank you again for coming on. Loved the insight and for how it's going to be able to potentially impact these seasonal infections that we all, consider just part of the calendar year, like the flu season, and how we can see mRNA technology and innovations in medical science help to tamp that down a little bit. We greatly appreciate your expertise and your insight.
Thank you so much, Parker. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. We love having our friends from all of our medical institutions, from Bonner, from Regional One Health, and of course, Dr. Mazumdar from Methodist of Bonner. She has been a great interview. We go to her a lot for our infectious disease questions. She's always just such a wealth of knowledge. So we really appreciate our friends at Methodist of Bonner for setting up that interview. We'll have more Action News 5 Digital Desk, guys, with a wrap of your headlines and your weather as we get ready for Action News 5 at midday. We'll be right back after the break. Thanks again, Dr. Mazumdar. That was great.
Thank you so much, Parker. Really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you both. That was awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jacob.
Bye.
Have a good weekend,
Yep,
guys.
bye-bye.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. As I've said throughout shows I've covered here on the show, with only 12 months in the year and a lot of topics to cover, there's a lot of months of recognition, awareness, and so we're giving a bit of a preview into September. September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, which I think has risen to prominence with the news of former President Joe Biden having a late-stage diagnosis of prostate cancer. It's really, and honestly, I think other people who aren't in the political spectrum were moved by former Top Gear host Jeremy Clarkson, who's currently working on Clarkson's Farm. And so I'll get out of the celebrity and get into the medicinal, because we've got our friends from Regional One. We are welcomed by Dr. Billy Ahmed, who is an oncologist at Regional One Health, who joins us today to talk a little bit about prostate cancer, some of the telltale signs, the basic 411 to sort of raise awareness, at least for our viewing public. So, Dr. Ahmed, good morning. Let's first start with, I guess, getting checked out, because we had your colleague, Anna Yang, a couple of weeks ago, specifically talking about how men just traditionally do not go to the doctor. But when you get into those ages, the late 30s, the 40s, there begin to be discussions with primary care physicians about checking for prostate cancer, colonoscopy, the early cancer diagnosis and prevention. And so in your medical opinion, when is that age, what is that age that men should first start considering getting those prostate exam checks and, being on the lookout for something that, if left unaddressed, can be fatal potentially? Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for having me. I think, as you mentioned, like President Biden's diagnosis has actually put a spotlight on some things I wish more men knew. So let's use this as a teaching moment. Starting with your questions about age, prostate cancer is the most common cancer after skin cancer in men. 1 in 8 men, and in some races, 1 in 6 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer. The good part is, depends on the stage of diagnosis, most people can go along, live their normal lives. So the importance about diagnosis and screening comes into play. Um, 50 is a good age for an average risk person to start their screening or discuss with their primary care doctors. I would argue like 45 to 50 would be something that to have the discussion. And if you're higher risk, having a family history of prostate cancer, brother and your father, then you should look into starting the screenings as early as 40. So it depends on the risk factors that you have, but I would definitely say 45 to 50 is a good number where patients can start discussing the screenings with their primary care doctors.
Gotcha. I think what made President Biden's diagnosis so jarring was because of how rapidly it had spread before it was discovered. You know, it's now in his bones. And so that's a point in which you realize the cancer had been there for a long time unaddressed. And so I make no bones about this. I'm not a medical professional by any means, but when I read up on, this particular diagnosis and it delves into prostate cancer, I believe, the telltale signs, if you will, the symptoms really don't start showing up until those later stages, because it is kind of like a very quiet, subtle cancer that kind of springs when it's too late. Now, correct me if I'm wrong in that regard, but what are those telltale signs that you start to look for with regard to prostate cancer? Say you are in that 45 to 50 range, 40 if you've got a family history of it, but you kind of, kick the can down the road and you start to notice these symptoms. What are those symptoms, those telltale signs that people should be on the lookout for?
Yes, definitely. And starting from your first comment about the aggressive nature, now prostate cancer is like a spectrum. Now, saying a word cancer is like one thing, but it's really a spectrum. Men can live with prostate cancer without treatment for 20 years to something that needs aggressive therapy right away. And the only way to find that out would be to get a diagnosis and look it under the microscope and see what kind of aggressive or not as aggressive prostate cancer someone has.